Okay, be honest. Have you ever said to yourself or someone else, I just need a better work-life balance? I'm betting so. I know I have. So if you're chasing the idea of this work-life balance, trying to juggle everything perfectly, but you still feel like something's missing, then tune in because this episode of The Brain Changes is for you. Welcome to The Brain Changes, a podcast about learning how to revolutionize the way you think and live by mastering your mind. We're your hosts, mother and daughter duo Rebecca and Yvonne King from Moonbeam Monday. Our goal is to empower you to live the life you choose by teaching you how to retrain your brain. Some people tell us it sounds like mind control, and it is, but not the way you might think. This is about you taking control of your own mind rather than letting your mind control you, so you can choose to live a life free from the expectations of others. No matter what you've experienced in the past, you can create positive change and transformation by learning how to master your mind. We know this because we've done it. Between us, we've survived cancer and stroke and eliminated debilitating anxiety and depression. We've turned our pain into purpose through the power of our mind, and we're now here to support and guide you to do the same. In this podcast, we share valuable insights about how your brain works, why you think, say, and do the things you do, how to begin the process of change, and why it's necessary. Because we know that when you change your mind, you change your life. Thanks for joining us. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Brain Changes podcast. I'm Rebecca and I'm here with Yvonne as always. Now, if you've been following along with our recent episodes, you'll know that we've been exploring the 7 neurological levels, which is based on the work of Robert Dilts. Now, last time we talked about beliefs and how they shape so much of our reality. And today we're moving one level deeper, or one level up the pyramid, so to speak, to talk about values. Now, we thought we'd start by diving into something that's thrown around a lot, this idea of work-life balance. Now, most of us have used that phrase at one time or another, and we always seem to be chasing this elusive idea because it sounds like the magic solution to a terrific life, right? But here's the truth. We think the phrase work-life balance is overrated.
Good morning, listeners. Yes, Beck, that's right. They're constantly trying to juggle work and their personal life, chasing this elusive idea of balance, like it's something that they can just magically achieve if they get their schedules right. But here's the thing, balance isn't really about managing time between work and life perfectly. It's more about aligning with your core values, because we can't take work out of the equation here. We've all got to work, but we also want to live our best life. And so we need to feel fulfilled and happy during all of our life, including the time we're at work. So the balance doesn't simply come with doing the fun or interesting things outside of work. Once you're clear on what's important to you overall, balance is just going to happen naturally in your life.
Yeah, exactly. It's less about splitting your time evenly between everything, which is what that term balance suggests, isn't it? And doing fun and joyful things outside of work hours, like you said. If we're unhappy at work, which for a lot of people is the majority of their day or the majority of their week, then we're never going to find balance in our life, because one part, a big part, is always going to feel a little bit off. And no matter how much you like your personal time, it won't make up for an unfulfilling work life or a stressful work life.
True. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is where knowing and understanding our core values in every part of our life it becomes crucial. And then once we know that, we can create a rhythm that works for us, rather than a balance, a rhythm. And when your life aligns with your values, you stop stressing over how many hours you're spending in one area or another. And you start making decisions that just feel right because they're rooted in what truly matters to you.
This is the key, isn't it? And that's what we're going to explore today. We're going to be talking about why chasing this work-life balance is totally exhausting, actually,
Yeah.
and why focusing on values instead will lead to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Because when you're clear on your values, everything else falls into place naturally. No balancing act required.
Yeah. Now, before you skip ahead thinking, I know what my values are, we're going to challenge you to really explore that because you might be surprised at how often people think they know what they value, but their actions tell a very different story.
Mm.
It happens to all of us. And I've worked with a number of clients who I've taken through this exercise. And when we began, they thought, yeah, I know what's most important to me. But when I asked them to explain exactly what that value meant and how it was showing up in their life, they had difficulty doing so. And later on down the track, once we've made some adjustments, they can see how misaligned things were. And everything just started to fall into place for them after that, like why they had been struggling before.
Yes, Beck, values are one of those things we hear a lot about. It's a word that's bandied about a lot, but rarely do we take the time to truly define them for ourselves, what our own personal values are. So let's start with a simple question for everyone listening today. Do you know what you value most in life? Just think about that. Do you know what you value most in life? And do those values actually align with the way you're living now?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it's probably not one to just answer really quickly and say, yes, of course I do. It warrants some time to ponder, doesn't it?
Definitely does.
And let's just start with explaining perhaps where our values actually come from. So the majority of our values, they're actually formed at a very young age, before we're 7 years old. And we absorb them from the people around us, the people who raised us, our parents or grandparents, caregivers, our teachers, the society that we're brought up in, even the media. And there will almost certainly be an expectation of our carers that what they value most in life will be also become our values.
Mm.
And we're not taught how to challenge these, or not even challenge, but question them. And so we spend our time living our life based on someone else's view of the world. It's not to say it's the wrong view of the world, it's just, it's not necessarily our view of the world. So, for example, it may be a religion, cultural or social expectations that we are expected to uphold. For example, you might come from a very academic family with the expectation that you will go into one of the professions when your interest and passion is for artistic pursuits. But as we grow, they might not truly reflect our own values. So it's like we're all given this invisible list of what's important, and we carry it around without ever questioning whether it's still true for us.
Yes, that's the key, isn't it? It's not that we're saying someone else's values are not good or irrelevant, but are they actually relevant to us?
Yes.
So values really in the simplest sense are the things that are most important to us. They actually act like a compass in
Mm.
our own life. They help us navigate life's big decisions. You imagine a ship's captain trying to navigate the seas without a compass.
Yeah.
And that's what trying to navigate life for us would be like without our own personal values. So they're going to shape how we spend our time, how we make a judgment about what's right and wrong for us, and even how we feel about ourselves and others.
Yes. But it gets even more interesting, right? Because values aren't just some vague list floating around in your mind. or even that you write down on a piece of paper, they actually work in a hierarchy, which was a surprise to me when I learned about this a few years back. So what's most important to you might be at the top of the hierarchy, while other values come second, third, and so on.
Yes, that's an interesting point, isn't it, Beck? If you think about someone who values wealth, for example, now nothing wrong with that. And they might invest a lot of time and energy in that area of their life. But what happens if they don't also value honesty or integrity, for example? In their pursuit of wealth, they could end up compromising the ways in which they're prepared to obtain that wealth, and perhaps doing things that they didn't really expect of themselves.
Yeah.
Or take another example, if someone's values both variety and security, then they might struggle to make decisions like, for example, whether to book an adventure holiday or stick with a safe option. So that begins to show us how we can begin to get these conflicts.
Yes. Yes. And that could, because that's where conflicts come up in our life, right? When two values start competing for your attention, if your conscious minds, if your conscious mind says, I value stability, but your unconscious mind craves excitement and variety, it can create this real tug of war inside and make decision making quite difficult.
Yeah, so I guess then that really shows why it's important to align your values and put them in this hierarchy of importance to you. And we're not just talking about what you think you value, but we're digging really deep here to understand what our unconscious mind might be prioritizing too. Often the challenges we face in life are rooted in values conflicts, as we've already said. And it's also important to note that the purpose underneath this value needs to come into consideration. Now, we're going to explore purpose in more detail in a future episode, but for now, an example of how to explain this might be in the area of health. For many of us, health obviously is one of our top values. But we need to understand why it's important to us. What's the reason that health is important to us? Is it so we can live a long life? Or maybe is it so that we can get off medication that we might be using? Or is it just simply that we can fit back into our old clothes? You see, they're all vastly different purposes for having the same value, aren't they?
Yeah.
So everyone's going to have a different reason or purpose underneath their values, but we need to know what it is.
Yeah.
So Beck, how can people figure out what their values actually are?
Hey there, listeners. This is Rebecca King, the Brain Changer, helping you revolutionize the way you think so you can live your life on purpose. If you're loving what you're learning here on The Brain Changers, we've got something special for you. Take back control of your own mind and truly connect with like-minded people by joining our Mind Masters Collective, a premium subscription membership for those who want to feel happy and confident again, to feel seen, heard, and valued at an incredibly affordable price. Inside, you'll gain exclusive access to a supportive community of people on the same journey as you, knowing they want something more and ready to invest in themselves to achieve it. You'll get loads of valuable resources and expert guidance on mastering your mind to help you live your absolute best life. You'll make new connections and friends that you didn't even know you needed. We'll get close and personal in monthly masterclasses with guest experts and monthly mastermind group coaching to help you navigate the challenges and celebrate the wins as you grow and change. Join us now by clicking the link in the show notes. We're all waiting excitedly for you to join us inside the collective. So to work out what our values are, there is a simple process that we can follow. Now, it might feel a little bit challenging at first if you've never done this before, but it is worth the effort, trust me. So first, choose an area of your life. So it could be your career, it could be your relationships, or it could just be your overall life in general. And then ask yourself, what is really important to me in this area? It's
Yeah,
as simple as that.
yes. And what you might find happens is that you'll think of a couple of things, two or three maybe, and you think, okay, so I'm done now.
Mm.
But the real purpose of this exercise is not stop at the first three things or four things that come into your mind. There'll be a lot more. You simply need to give it time. You need to sit with it and dig deep. Because it's so common to hear answers like honesty, integrity, and loyalty, which are great. These things, to most right-minded people, are obviously priorities.
Mm.
But what's individual to us? What's important to us? So we need to really sit with this, keep digging, and go with it until you've exhausted every possibility. And for some people, this might be 20 words. For others, it might be 45 words. There's really no right or wrong number, but don't just stop at 5 or 10 and think you're done, because you're not.
Yeah, and if you have trouble getting going with this, have a think about the things that you do regularly. Do you go to the gym regularly? Do you eat fast food regularly? Do you make sure that you catch up with friends regularly? The things that you do regularly, these are the things that are most important to you. So that starts giving you some clues as to how to figure out what's most important to you.
Mm.
And then, of course, once you've got this list, whatever the length of this list is, it's time to put those values in order because, as we mentioned before, there is a hierarchy. And whether you believe it or not, and this can be a challenge for some people when they're putting it in a hierarchy, no two values will ever be equally important. So one will always win out when you have to make a choice. You used that example of the how we're going to choose a holiday earlier. If you love fun and variety, but you also value security and you're choosing perhaps a destination or a hotel, one of those values is going to win out. You're either going to end up staying in a high-rise apartment that you need a key card to get up in the lift to your floor, or you're going to stay in a hut on the beach, that has an open door policy, just as an example. And
Yes.
so this is where that real work begins. So ask yourself, out of all these values, which is the most important to me right now? So it's not about what used to be important to you or what you want to be important to you. This exercise, this is about right now. And keep doing that until you've created your hierarchy. And later on, when you examine your current values, if you realize that you actually want or need them to be something different in order to get the outcome that you want, and this is where you'll see purpose fits into this as well, then you can change your values. And that's the kind of thing that we help people do in private coaching.
Beck, I love that part where we put them into order, because once you have that order or hierarchy, you can really start to see what's driving you. Maybe you realize that you've been placing security above freedom in your career decisions, for example, and it's keeping you stuck in a job that you don't love.
Yeah.
Or maybe family ranks higher than success, but your actions aren't reflecting that.
Yes, exactly. That's when you can start to see, this list that might be unconsciously floating around in your head becomes an actual thing, and you can start asking questions and then making changes. So let's talk about something important here, and that is how our values change over time. Because the truth is, the values that mattered to us 5, 10, or even 2 years ago might not be the same ones that guide us today. Life experiences, personal growth, and changes in our circumstances all play a huge role in how our values evolve.
That's so true, Beck. I mean, think about it. What you valued when you were younger, like independence or adventure, for example,
Mm.
might take a back seat now to stability or family as you grow older. Or maybe after a career shift rather, you start valuing creativity and fulfillment more than financial success. It's
Mm.
natural, and it's why revisiting values regularly is really essential.
Yeah, exactly. It's really easy to fall into this trap of thinking that our values are set in stone. But if we don't take time to reflect on them, we might find ourselves living out of alignment without even realizing it. And, that's where we can feel um, disappointed, disillusioned, have trouble making decisions. And when our actions don't match what we truly value, that's when we start feeling frustrated, stuck, unfulfilled.
Yes,
Mm.
it's part of that conflict that's happening, isn't it?
Mm.
And of course, the beauty of revisiting values is that it allows us to course correct.
Mm.
Let's say you've always valued career success, but lately you've been feeling drained and unmotivated at work. And you sit down and you reflect and realize that family or health has become more important to you now.
Mm.
So when you become aware of that shift, you can start making changes in your life to honor these new priorities.
Yes, and I totally relate to that, as I'm sure many people listening will. I was always someone who wanted to climb the corporate and professional ladder. And I got to a position that I'd been working toward, a management role, and I realized that actually it wasn't giving me what I thought it would and what I wanted. In that role, I actually had much less contact with people, with customers. And that was part of my role initially. That was the part that I initially loved. And I missed the conversations that I had with people. I missed being able to help them directly because helping people was one of my core values. And actually, when I think about it, this has happened at several points in my career, hasn't it? You've
Hmm.
seen this. I kept making the same let's call it a mistake, for want of a better word, but I kept making the same mistake because I didn't really understand what was most important to me. And, it eventually got to a point I was really happy with the money that I was making, and wealth has always been one of my values as well. So you can see there was some conflict here. I was happy with the money that I was making in this management role and what it afforded me, but the other value was higher in my hierarchy. And so I actually decided to move back into a specialist role rather than staying in management. And so, yes, I took a pay cut, which I wasn't super happy about. Um, but money or wealth wasn't as important to me at that time as what I got from working directly with people in the other role. So, this wasn't a huge life altering decision at that particular time. I've made those too, but it was a significant change in my life. And that's the thing I think it's important to say here is that it doesn't have to be a huge life altering decision. It can just be about making small adjustments, like shifting your work hours to spend more time with family, or dedicating specific time each day to your health, whatever that looks like for you. Or what matters is that your actions align with what you value in the present, not what you valued in the past.
And this alignment helps us feel more centered, more authentic. When you revisit your values, you're essentially checking in with yourself and asking, is this the way or is the way I'm living right now in line with what truly matters to me?
Mm.
And if it's not, you have the power to make those changes.
Exactly. So, for everyone listening, we encourage you to regularly take stock of your values. So, ask yourself, what do I value most now? And are my and are my actions reflecting that? So it's such a powerful exercise, and it can bring so much clarity to your decisions and how you're living your life, can't it?
It does. And remember, it's not about getting it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Values can shift over time, and it's okay if they do. The key, though, is staying aware of those shifts and making sure that your actions follow suit. When your actions and your values align, that's when you start feeling more balanced, fulfilled, and true to yourself.
Yes. And so if you've never taken the time to sit down and really dig into your values, or if it's been a while since you've checked in on them, now is a great time to do it. So grab a journal, piece of paper, whatever works for you, and reflect and see if there's anything that needs to shift in your life to match what's most important to you today. It's such a powerful exercise, and it can truly change the way that you experience your life.
And remember, your values aren't set in stone. They can change as you grow and evolve as persons. So revisit them regularly and see how they align with the life that you want to create.
Yeah. So that's it for today's episode on values. We hope you found this conversation helpful and inspiring. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or you want to share your own experiences with exploring your values, feel free to connect with us on social media or through our website.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe or share this episode with someone who might need it. And we'll see you next time when we dive into the next level of the neurological framework, identity and purpose.
Great. See you soon. And remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Brain Changers. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation today. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest episodes. Our mission is to reach as many people as possible to help them revolutionize the way they think so they can change their brain and create profound transformation. Please help us broaden our reach by sharing this episode with someone you know will benefit. And remember to tag us on socials at Moonbeam Monday and leave a review. And remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. We'll catch you next time for another episode of The Brain Changers.